Government corruption has never been more prevalent or caused more harm. It's why extremism is on the rise. It's why the financial gap between the haves and have-nots has never been wider. And it's why our planet is at risk of an extinction level tragedy. That's why I need your help to keep exposing the truth about the rot on both sides of the aisle. Become a supporter or a friend of the show today by clicking on the coffee link in the description box below. Friends of the show join me on a Zoom hangout once a month, and you guys can ask me any questions you want, and I can get to know you better. But the most important reason to help is to keep the show alive. Together, we can and will save our country and our planet. Thanks in advance and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Ryan Bledsoe was arrested. Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So 26-year-old Michigan resident Jeremiah Caplinger planned to enter the Capitol well before January 6th. On December 29th of 2020, he shared a photo with his sister, and it read in part, quote, "Operation Occupy the Capitol, taking back our country from corrupt politicians, January 6, 2021, all 50 states, 12 p.m. Then on January 6th, he was seen on video using a bike rack to scale the side of the Capitol building. And Caplinger was also captured on video inside the Capitol. He was wearing a Trump 2020 hat, and he was part of the mob who rushed a line of police officers inside the Capitol crypt. Caplinger was also seen inside of Nancy Pelosi's office suite. And while he was at the Capitol, he received a text from his sister asking, quote, "How's rioting going?" Caplinger responded, quote, "Great. Glad I had body armor." Well, following January 6th, Caplinger doubled down on his illegal actions. He retweeted a photo of lawmakers crouching down in the Senate chamber, and the doors were being barricaded. And the caption on it read, quote, "Look at all these worthless cowards." And then on January 8th, he shared a photo on social media of a revolutionary soldier, and he wrote, quote, "As said by Cersei Lannister, I choose violence." So I guess Caplinger missed the part about how Cersei Lannister was the evil villain in Games of Thrones. She was not a hero. And he continued with his idiotic attitude. In February of 2021, Caplinger was interviewed by MLive news outlet, and he admitted his crimes. He said that he entered the Capitol after Trump's, quote, "call to action." Caplinger also told the reporter that the events of 2020, quote, "fueled outrage among Trump supporters." And he said, quote, "Being told the election was stolen was one poke too many." Caplinger went on to say that the riot, quote, "looked fun." And when he asked if he regretted his actions, he said, quote, "To have regrets means to have done something wrong," and that it would, quote, "mean I broke something, destroyed something, or whatever. No, my rage towards the establishment Democrats and rhino Republicans is great. Think of Pompeii when it was destroyed by Mount Vesuvius." He went on to say, quote, "I think it was a great stupid thing when it came to breaking and destroying things, sure, but I will not sit here and allow people to constantly demonize, patronize, criticize, and try to ostracize Trump supporters for doing what they believe in." Caplinger also showed no remorse for the terror felt by everyone in the building that day. He told the news outlet, quote, "If you take a job, you take on the responsibility of that job and everything and anything that comes with it. So to members of Congress that sit there like AOC and say, 'I almost died,' then why don't you quit and go do something else? If you feel that strong about it, leave." For all his bravado, though, when the FBI came knocking, Caplinger wasn't quite as confident. He denied having a Parler account, and he denied taking body armor to the Capitol. So Caplinger was arrested on April 6th of last year. He was charged with entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, parading or demonstrating in a Capitol, and 1 count of climbing on government property on Capitol grounds. In November, Caplinger pleaded guilty to the climbing charge, and so he was looking at up to 6 months in jail, up to $5,000 in fines, and some probation. But because Caplinger likely received a lot of participation trophies as a child, he kept running his mouth. 1 month after he pleaded guilty, Caplinger tweeted that the FBI stands for, quote, the federal bitches of incompetence. And according to the FBI, Caplinger was fired from 5 jobs over the course of 2020 and 2021 because he refused to comply with their COVID mandates. They also said that he repeatedly violated his pretrial release conditions. He tested positive for weed 5 times after his arrest. Although I did see a medical marijuana letter from a physician filed with the court. I'm sure it's totally legit. It states that Caplinger suffers from lower back pain, neck pain. He also has stress and anxiety. So could be bullshit, but who knows? At the sentencing hearing, Caplinger's attorney argued for leniency. He said that compared to January 6th, his client is, quote, not in the same place he was. He tried to claim that due to COVID, Caplinger had been very isolated and it led to extremism. But now he's working in a factory and he's around a diverse group of people. So he knows that, quote, people who disagree with him politically aren't his enemy. He also told the court that Caplinger was going to launch a, quote, campaign to become a state representative. Caplinger also spoke briefly at the sentencing hearing, and he said, quote, I would like to first apologize to you and the court for my actions on January 6th. I am sorry for all that has occurred then and afterwards. For me, the most important thing is not being taken away from my family. My daughter is very young. I don't want to be an absent father. Please don't separate me from my family. That would be all I have to say, Your Honor. So, dear God, this moron has a child. That poor kid. Maybe he should have thought about his child on January 6th. If she's so important to him, he doesn't want to be this absent parent. Why wasn't his ass at home with her instead of in DC with Trump? Anyway, he's obviously full of shit, but unfortunately, I'm not the judge. U.S. District Judge Paul Friedman presided over this case, and I believe this was his first January 6th sentencing. I couldn't find any details about what he may have said in court, but in the end, he ended up sentencing Caplinger to only 35 days in jail, 2 years of probation, 60 hours of community service, and a $500 restitution fee. I'm glad to see he got some time behind bars, but it was far less than the 3 months requested by the prosecutor. That's pathetic. And Caplinger should take his punishment without complaining, because remember, when you take on a responsibility, you accept whatever comes along with it, according to him. You know, he took on the job of a patriot on January 6th. So anyway, guys, when and if I hear more about this great guy, this father, I will let you know. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.